Hi guys, thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Love Code on YouTube. Today, I want to do something that I really haven't done since we started doing Love Code on YouTube here, and that is to make use of the book itself. Right? Someone made a comment, that I always have Love Code on the set, but I never ever talk about it. So I wanted to bring out something from this book today. Which is the concept that I have written in the book together with my wife, which is called the center of your relationship. What is that thing that is the center of your relationship? Because every relationship has that. So I'm going to be looking into Love Code today, and Love Code is a book that my wife and I wrote. Interestingly, 2 years ago now, in 2018, this book was launched, and since then it's been distributed widely. At least here in Canada, hundreds and hundreds of copies. But since the lockdown, because we haven't been to events or anything like that, we haven't been doing much of that. So I just wanted to talk about something from the book today again. If you want it, you can get it on Amazon. It's available, but I would also tell you how you can get it for free. So if you wait till the end of the video, I would share with you how I can get this into your hands without you having to pay for it if you can't afford to buy it. But if you can buy it, why not? I think it's $10 or so, the paperback edition of this. But today I'm going to be looking into the hardcover edition. What I'm going to share with you today is the center of your relationship. And like I was saying, every human relationship has a heart. Every human relationship has that thing that is the focal point, the driving force of that relationship, if you like. That is what is called the center, the heart of the relationship. As they say, the heart of the matter is a matter of the heart. So it is that thing that is literally keeping you in that relationship. That is the reason why you are in that relationship. Sometimes we are aware of it, but many times we're not aware of it. We don't really know that that's what's going on, but that really is what is going on. So in one of the chapters here, which is centered, really the book is very simple book. It's just all of the chapters are written in C words like connection, chemistry, communication, common interests, compatibility. We called it a checklist, complete checklist for covenant relationships. So you're just checking all those things to see how you fit in with your partner, right? Contrast, conviction, confirmation, courtship, caution, center, which is what I'm talking about today. There's counsel, there's confession, there's consent, there's commitment, there's covenant, and then there's copulation, which many people like. All right, so that's all what the book is about. It's just a checklist. The chapters are not long at all. You just read, and you assess your relationship based on that. So here we're talking about center. We're saying that every human relationship has a center. It is what drives that relationship. It's what brought you together, or what is keeping you together. So what you want to ask yourself is, what is keeping me in this relationship? What is keeping me in this relationship that I'm in? That's what will give you an idea of what the center of that relationship is. What is the focal point of that relationship? If that thing is taken away, will you stay in that relationship? All right? And just be honest with yourself and just ask yourself that, what is the main attraction for me in this relationship? What is the one thing? And the easiest way to go about recognizing what this is to ask yourself a very simple question. And there are three possibilities here that could be the result of this, and I'll get to that in a second. But the most important question that you need to ask is this. After you've asked yourself, if this thing is taken away from this relationship, will I still stay? What is holding me into this relationship? The one thing that would help you to piece all of those things together is to ask yourself this simple question. What is the one thing that we do the most together when we are alone? What is the one thing that we do the most together when we are alone? Like when you are alone together with your partner, the person you're in courtship with, and you know that nobody will ever find out what we're about to do. What is that thing that you guys do the most? It's almost like you crave the space and the time to be alone together just to do that one thing, right? That is the center of your relationship. And there are three outcomes here, three things that could be the outcome. The first one could be that it would be your partner that your relationship is focused on. And what do we mean by this? When you find out that and this is on page 81 of the book, there's a diagram that I have in the book here, and this was an illustration that God gave to me a very long time ago, really, and I just used it here when I started to write this book. And it describes what the activities that take place when the relationship is focused on either you or your partner. And that's like the relationship is centered around physical attraction. It's all about, building your self-esteem, which sounds like a good thing, but it's all focused about you. It's all about you or your partner now, right? It's all about making them, feel good, where you're doing everything you can just to make the person feel good about themselves, feel, loved, feel like they are the center of attraction. You wake up every day, that's the first thing that you want to do, is just to talk to this person, to make this person, and that is good, right? But when it becomes the focus, when it becomes the main thing that you're doing, then there's a problem. When it's all about, I don't want to be lonely, it's all about my needs, I can't stop thinking about you, or sometimes it's about money, it's about material things, it's about money and finances. And, this person's just providing for your needs, or this person, in some cases, maybe this person has a nice car and is always taking you around. There's so many things that could be. And sometimes it's about looks, it's about, a physical attraction, where the guy is just mesmerized by the way the lady looks and the shape of the body, or, it could be any of those things. And all of those things are infatuation. There is a clear distinction between love and infatuation, and that's one of the things that the book will help you understand, that love has and we'll get to it, let me not get ahead of myself, but this year, if you find that this is, and again, don't get it wrong, we're not saying that all of these things, like you should not feel like you want to be with your partner all the time, or you shouldn't feel like your needs, but it cannot be the focus. That's what we're saying. So it can't be the center of attraction. It can't be the main thing that your relationship is all about. That is the main thing that is going on there. So that's infatuation, right? That's not yet love. It is and infatuation can become love. It's possible for for a relationship to start out as infatuation and to grow into love. That's a very major possibility, and I also talked about that in the book. Now, the next possibility is for your relationship to be centered around sex. And when I say sex, I mean sex or sexual activities. Now, I like to make this clear distinction, because I've met people in my time of talking about relationships in conferences and events. People will say to me, but I'm not really having sex, we just do a lot of heavy petting, and recently I heard that concept. I was a youth pastor for so long, and I didn't even know that there was something called heavy petting, right? So like we do a lot of heavy petting, and but we don't really do sex. And I say, okay, explain some of the things that you do, explain to me some of the things that you guys do. And by the time the person starts to explain, and of course you see they start getting shy and they start looking away, and by the time they describe all those things, I'm like, these things you are doing, the only thing left is the act itself, of actual penetration. So if something is giving you sexual pleasure, it's in this category as well. So some of the things that you would find that you are always looking forward to doing the most with your partner, if it is this ones, which is sex, sexual activity, necking and petting, you are always looking forward to just, kissing this person or touching them under their clothes. Your focus is all about the body, it's all about physical gratification. If they don't do that to you for a while, or they don't touch you for a while, or they're not, kissing you, then you start losing interest. It starts feeling as if the relationship is not exciting anymore to you. Then that means this is the focus of that relationship. And in this kind of relationship, there's a lot of tension. There's a lot of, you're always on the edge, where you always feel like, you need that to just keep you feeling as if this person still loves me. So that's how you interpret, the love. And you're not married to this person, you're just dating them, but you just always feel that need to have them hold you or touch you or kiss you, or, you guys just play, like one of my friends says, rough play, under your clothes, and you're all of those things are in this bracket. It's all about sexual pleasure and touching and all those different things. If that is the main thing that you guys do together all the time, that you're always looking forward to being alone together just to do this, your relationship is built around lust. That is the foundation of your relationship. And the interesting thing is that these things can change from time to time. So you can start out one way and make a change. And even if you start out, like I'm going to get to the part of love now, if you start out there and you are not watchful, you can drift into other things. So it's all about being careful part time. So it's not like your relationship is fixed in one place and you have to, this is what my relationship is built on and that's what it is. No, you have to always be mindful and check it out from time to time to see that your relationship is still on the right path. You are still focused on these things. And the next one is where I want to really focus on, which is how to know if your relationship is built on love. Now, love in the sense of the genuine, concept of what love really is, according to 1 John chapter 4 verse 8, which is that God is love. That's what the Bible says. So that's how we as Christians interpret love. Okay, so here it is. These are the things, if you find yourself always looking forward to any of these things, and this is what you guys do the most in your relationship, you don't have to be making noise about it. You don't have to be taking a picture anytime you are praying together with your spouse and putting on Instagram. That's not the idea. Nobody even needs to know, right? But this is what your heart yearns for the most with this person, is commitment, prayer. As funny as it sounds, you are always looking forward to you and your partner getting together, pray. I remember one of my earliest relationship, before I met my wife that I eventually married. I was in a relationship back then when I was in teens church, very very early, but I still had a heart that I wanted to do this thing, right. So I of course then I was already a pastor pastoring the teens church, as it were, right, and leading the teenagers and doing all of that, preaching, weekly, and doing all those different things. So and I made up my mind that the first person that I'm in a relationship with, that's the person that I want to marry, right? And we have all these things when we are young, so I did that. So what I did was, because I knew that she wasn't, on the same spiritual level that I thought I was at that time, I decided, okay, I'm going to do my best to at least help her to. So what I did was I bought a Bible, a study Bible. And I told her, okay, like every, whether it was Tuesday, I can't even remember now, we'll meet in the church, right in the center of the church, right? We'll come into the middle. It was a very big sanctuary then that we had in church in Nigeria. And then we'll sit in the middle, and she'll sit across from me, and we'll be studying the Bible together and doing all of that. And I was just doing it out of the innocence of my heart, right? I wasn't really, interested in anything else. I just wanted to help her to get to this point. So I know that there are people out there who do that. There are people out there who just want to get together with their partner and pray together. Okay, so needless to say, that relationship didn't work out because she wasn't really interested in that. It wasn't fun, as it were. It wasn't exciting to a lot, and that's what happens when the foundation is not right. Sometimes it's not, and that's not the exact reason why the relationship didn't work. But I'm just saying that I could see that she wasn't really feeling that. That wasn't, because we're not on the same page in that way, right? And some people consider it awkward. Can I be praying with somebody that I haven't married? You had better start praying with them before you marry them, because when you get married, you will need a lot of prayers, and if you have not started doing it, it will now feel even more awkward then, and then you will have a challenge. And that's exactly what the enemy wants, where he wants couples to be divided, especially in something that he knows will give them so much power. Something like prayer that he knows that will give them a lot of power. He wants them to be divided, not to be interested in doing it together. Okay, so you want to start from when you are in courtship to be doing this and to practice these things. Okay. There's also giving, there's virtues and principles. This is what your relationship is built on. You guys have boundaries that are set. You made it clear, like, this is what we are not going to do. This is, how far we will not go. Right? This is where the thing stops. We don't go beyond this. And just make it clear like that. And you guys have principles. Your values are similar. You share common values together. It's not like you believe that certain things are okay and some things are not okay, which is the problem I had in that my first relationship that I was talking about as well, right? Which is that we weren't really. She was also a Christian, and God bless her heart, she also wanted to please God, but we just weren't on the exact same page, right? It wasn't on the same page. There's some things that she felt was okay, but I had gone beyond that to believe that some things are no longer okay, and I have to hold myself accountable to a higher standard, especially where I was already, preaching in church and doing Sunday school and pastoring. And I remember, back then, exciting things. We would be doing Sunday school quiz in Redemption Camp. We would go, and I was representing the province and all of that. So I was already in a place where I felt I had to be a good example to a lot of the younger folks, around me. But, she still felt that, she was still young, and some things, we were really young, so it was really strange for her that, I'm putting all these principles in place, but eventually when my wife came along, we were agreed. In fact, our own standards were higher than mine at the time, so it didn't become a problem because she held me to higher, even higher standards than that. So, and that worked out eventually. So you just need to be on the same page to agree together about the things that are okay and the things that are not. So if that is what your relationship is about, then you guys are building it on a very good foundation. You're asking questions, you're having conversations, right? You are not always just about how you guys feel about each other, which is okay to do once in a while, to tell the person how you feel about them. That's okay. But if that is all that you do, if that is all that you are always interested in, if that is what gives you the kick, as they say in the relationship, that's what excites you, that's all you are looking forward to in the relationship, then that's what your relationship is built on. It's built on infatuation or lust. But if you guys can actually sit down as people in courtship and have a conversation, actually sit down, have difficult conversations, right? Talk about questions that you need to ask yourselves before you get married. And and I remember, in fact, maybe one of these days I'll bring you the book. I saw it recently that my wife and I sat down as young folks. I think when we did that thing, we probably would have been 19 or 20 or 21, somewhere around that, and we sat down and we wrote, difficult questions. We asked each other. I still have the book. I saw it, recently, where we wrote out, questions that we would ask each other. We read this book about, choosing a life partner, and we started to ask each other different questions. What will we do in this scenario? We'll write the answer there. What will we do here? And those things look very weird to some people these days, and it feels like, why would I be doing that? We could be going out on dates and doing stuff, but if your relationship is built on love, on God and His Word, then this is what you do. You will ask those questions, because trust me, if you don't ask those questions now, life will ask you those questions. Your marriage will ask you those questions, and you will not have an answer to give. So you have to sit down now and do that work and ask, questions, have conversations, ask the person the things that are on your heart. What are your life ambitions? Do you still have dreams of furthering your education? What happens if our in-laws have to live with us? Different things like that. You ask those difficult things, and those are the things you are looking forward to. It's not the touching and the thing. You are looking forward to hearing the person tell you something about their past again. You're asking about, okay, how were your past relationships? What's and you ask all those different things. And we didn't have to wait until when I was married to know what my wife's past relationship was. She also was in one relationship just like me before we met, and she was dating somebody that she thought she was going to marry as well. So you have to talk about that and have conversations about that, and you know that early enough, in your relationship. And if you have had bad experiences or you have baggage in your past, you let them know up front and you talk about that. Those are the things that your relationship is built on here. Okay, shared values, mutual respect, where you guys have value for yourselves, respect for each other. You are not, nobody's taking advantage of somebody else. Nobody's putting somebody under pressure. Nobody is trying to guilt trip another person into doing things that they don't want to do, right? Just because it makes you feel better. Whereas a guy, you are pressuring the girl just to do certain things that you know that she doesn't want to do, just because you will say, okay, if you don't do that, that means you don't really love me. Those things are not love. So if these are the things that your relationship is centered on, which means those are the things that you do the most often when you are alone, those are the things you look forward to the most, those are the things you will miss the most, then your relationship is probably built on love. And here God is the center of it, because God is love. So this is extremely, extremely important. It's a very simple concept, but it's very important. And we need to keep checking, part time, and keep looking over this to be sure that our relationships are still aligned in the right place. God doesn't want to share your heart with anybody just because you are in a relationship, right? He instituted marriage for a man and woman to love each other, but not at his own expense. God must always remain number one in your life, right? And then after that comes your spouse, because God gave your spouse to you, and He will not give you anything that will take you away from Him. So always remember that God will not give you anybody or anything that will take you away from Him. His priority, the reason why He created you, was to fellowship with Him. It was after He created man that He now said, okay, it's not okay for this man to be alone. Let me give him a helpmeet for him. So the two of you now are supposed to still put your focus on God as the center of your attention, and then you can now have love for each other and stay together. So I hope this helped you today. You can read. This is just a short version of this. You can read it up in the book Love Code. It's available on Amazon, like I said. But if you are out there and you cannot afford the book, you genuinely, sincerely cannot afford, because I know what's been going on now. People are some people are in really difficult times at this time, so no pressure on anybody. But if you're out there and you cannot afford to buy it, I will send it to you for free. So just send me an email, as long as you are in Canada, right, and you don't have it, you want it, and you will read it. And it's not like you're going to get the book and keep it in your house. Okay, as long as you are interested in reading it, you liked what I shared today, and you feel like you want to read the book and get some more, send me an email. My email address is on the screen. Tell me why you want the book. Give me your name and your address. As long as you are in Canada, I will send it to you at my own expense. If you are in any other part of the world, I cannot guarantee that, because I know that there are so many people that watch this channel from so many countries, and I thank you for always watching. But I can't guarantee, just because I have no idea how much it will cost me to do that. In Canada, I know how much I would need to spend on one. So even if 100 people ask for it, I have an idea at least of what it will cost, and I believe God will help me with that. But if you are anywhere else, as long as you are willing to pay the shipping, if you are anywhere else in the world, if you are willing to pay the shipping, I will send it to you for free. I still have quite a number of copies that I can give out. And the basis for this book was not really for us to sell it initially. At the launch, we made some people make some pledges for us that if they buy one hard copy at an expensive price, then we'll be able to give out a paperback edition. So I'll send you a free copy of the paperback edition. If you can't afford to buy it on Amazon, I will send it to you. So I hope you enjoyed this today. I hope this was a blessing to you. Thank you very much for watching the video. Like the video if you enjoyed it. And even if it wasn't really exciting for you, still like the video. Why not? Okay, subscribe to the channel and make sure you turn on your notifications so that you know when I have a new video out. I usually have new episodes of Love Code on YouTube on Sundays at 6 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. I have new videos on YouTube at that time. So thank you once again for watching. Join me again next week for another episode. Until then, God bless you.